I recently went with my girls to Milan and several other cities in Italy. And one of the highlights of my trip was to go to a yoga studio in Milan and take a class with a yoga teacher in Italian. I speak Italian and I've known it for many years, but this was my very first time experiencing yoga in Italian. So, taking two things that I'm very passionate about, this language that I've loved since college, and this practice that I started more than a decade ago. And just like combining the two was just a really, really cool experience. But I have to say that, like, the thing that blew my mind the most about the language difference was the difference in the connection between myself and the teacher. Because in Italian, when she was teaching the class, she used the first person. So obviously English and Italian are not the same language and things are a little bit different, but basically instead of saying put your right hand in the air, she would say I put my right hand in the air. And it totally changed the perspective for me, and it removed every other student and the teacher from the experience, and her voice just kind of became my own in a very personal way. It was really neat. So as she said, I breathe in, I breathe out, I really just, it felt like I was saying that and I was experiencing that. And just like, I was able to get inside myself more. I was able to be inside my own body, inside my own yoga experience without anyone else, without any perception of anyone else, because she was using the first person of the verb conjugation. And I just thought that was really interesting. It's something I'd like to try as a teacher. But it's different. I mean, we always say, step your right foot forward, lift your arms up to the sky, open your arms wide, right? So we're saying you and your. And so this is like a total paradigm shift, a perspective shift for me. And I feel like I need to practice a little bit. Like, how would I even say that? How would I even teach using the first person form and talking about my own body and allowing people to hear it and sort of transfer it into their own experience, but hearing me speak as if um, I'm just talking about myself. Um, so I think I'll start with an example of like the sun salutation, just so you understand what I mean. So, beginning in mountain pose, I put my feet on the floor. I feel my knees stacked over my ankles, my hips stacked over my knees. My spine zips up from the bottom to the top, and I lift my head and set it right on the top of my spine. My shoulders relax down and back, and my hands come to heart center. I close my eyes and I set my intention for my practice. I inhale, I raise my arms up to the sky, I clasp my hands together, I reach over to the right side. I look up, I reach over to the left side. I look up and I let my arms gracefully dive down like a swan, floating all the way down to a forward fold. I inhale as I lift halfway. I exhale into a forward fold. I plant my hands on the ground and step my feet back. I lower all the way down to the bottom of a push-up. I press my hands into the earth as I lift my chin and chest up into upward facing dog. And then as I exhale, I lift my hips up to the sky, downward facing dog. Did you notice the change there? That's not something I've ever heard in an American English speaking yoga class. And to be honest, it felt a little bit clunky or strange, but I think like with a little bit of practice and with a little refinement, it could be a neat experience, something I might like to try. I don't think it's something I'm going to do every time because I think it will throw people off, but as kind of an opportunity to have a theme for the class where we're talking about point of view and perspective and just how you can kind of just change one thing and change your whole view on the world with it. I feel like this would be a really fun teaching tool, something I learned in my own yoga practice in traveling the world and experiencing yoga in a different country. I think it would be a really neat way to kind of bring in that international experience into my class and share a little bit of what I learned with my students. So that's yoga in Italian. Ispiro, espiro. I breathe in, I breathe out.